It's taken me quite a while to record this video. I don't know why, but I keep messing up the intro. I'm not somebody who like edits my videos down or gets rid of my ums and ers, because I'm just having a conversation with you guys. I ain't trying to have like the perfect run through. We just do it in one go, and plus I'm pretty lazy. But besides the point, we're nearly getting to that point now where we will be going to the Pro League qualifier. Now, if you don't know what the Pro League qualifier is, I don't know where you've been living, maybe under a rock for this past few months, but what happened is people in Vegas competed. The top 36 teams that guaranteed you either a spot in Pro League or a spot in the qualification process for Pro League. The top 4 teams were guaranteed Pro League. Optic Gaming, E United, Splice, and Luminosity, of course. Now, outside of that, the other 32 teams that finished in the top 36 go to an event in Columbus in January. It's going to be between the 16th and the 20th of January, of course. I know the format already, but I can't talk about it. It's definitely the fairest that they possibly could have done. I didn't expect them to put so much effort into doing it, but I think it's been done fantastically. Plenty of games for everyone to play. I think the majority of the pros know exactly how it's going to work, but it hasn't been announced, so I can't talk about it. You will guys find out very, very soon, I am sure. But anyway, 12 teams make it through this process. I'm going to try and not spoil it for everybody, but the most I can say is really that it's as competitive as it possibly could be, and there's plenty of games, plenty of opportunities for people to qualify for Pro League. Now, I'm going to move through all the teams. All these teams I found on Dassault. So some of them are, the rosters aren't correct, as in, so as of today, it looks like Mindfreak are making a change, getting rid of Buzzo. It looks like Swifty's coming in from Tainted Minds, so they're going to be looking for a player, which I presume will be Buzzo. And there's a couple other little changes happening in teams in Europe, but they're not changes on teams that I think will make it, unfortunately. Anyway, we are going to go through this, and I'm going to try and make a decision on who I think will finish top 12. I think a lot of them are easy. Well, there's a good few that are very, very easy. You know, these proper good teams you would expect to be there. But then there's some... I'm not recording the video again just for the sneeze. Anyway, but there are some that you would definitely expect to be there, but there's some that you would definitely expect to maybe struggle a little bit, but could potentially make it. I'm gonna stop blabbering. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been trying to record this video for ages, and my head's just in the bin. It's Christmas. I'm switched off. I'm in Christmas mode. Anyway, let's get into it, and we're gonna go down in order. So obviously the seeding of this is done by where you finished to Vegas. And we're gonna go from. Let's go from bottom to top. Nation of Power with Slater, Mizuno, Rain 6. Don't think they'll make it. Enigma 6. Now, I put Enigma 6 down as a maybe, because we know they've got a good roster. In the grand scheme of things, though, they didn't really play very well in Vegas at all, and crashed out just making it to get to the qualifier. So I think they'll struggle. I think they will struggle, but they potentially will make it. I said I'm going to go through each team, and then I'll outline which teams I do think will make it. Vodafone Giants, I think, will struggle. They did okay, as said, but realistically, I look at this team and I sort of think to myself, can they go further than finish in top 32? I don't think so. MHP, Destiny, Vicious, Noob, Supreme Agility, and Rex. We've seen a little bit from these guys, but I'm not 100% sure on whether I think they can go very far. I think they will lose the majority of their games, unfortunately. It's coming to the point where it's come to crunch time. I just don't think they're going to be able to make it. Factor Revolution are a maybe from me, which is Kami, Chain, Defrag, Maple, and Sunny B. They may have changed their team, but I don't think so. Either way, they had an okay time with things in Vegas. Possibly feel like they probably could have went further. They are a possibly maybe from me. I'm going to put them on the outside of maybe. There's a potential, but I don't know. There's so many good teams at this event. I just don't know if they'll be able to do it. Movie Star Riders, Puny, Sammy, Palooka, Supres, and Oni. Now, this team, as said, they did well, as did a lot of the mainland European teams. Spanish teams, I think there's 3 in here. They did well, but I think this is where it ends for them. I would be surprised if they can make the push to top 16. They're a team who have potential, but again, it's going to be very, very difficult to see how far they go. She's calling me again, isn't she? Try again. Team Divine, Kreza, Delio, Neville, Nile, and Colgate. Now, I am pretty sure this team may have changed. Not 100% sure, but we'll talk over it if we need to. But either way, this is another team that might be able to do it. I sort of put them in the same bracket as Factor Revolution. I think they could potentially do something, but it will be very, very difficult, and they'll have to go on a crazy run. Now we're going to start getting into the teams here who could potentially qualify. I feel as if this is teams that I do feel could do well. Over time, they actually really surprised me at how good they actually looked and had a couple of decent results in Vegas. Now, they could cause problems for a few teams. I think they'll be pushed to try and make it, but realistically, I think they could cause a few problems for some teams, and it'll be interesting to see if Whalers can get his boys on board. I think it was Risk or Zeke, one of the two, looked really, really good in Vegas. They could potentially do it. Tainted Minds, not 100% sure on their roster, as we know that Swifty has left and Buzzo has left Mind Freak, so those two could realistically probably just swap, but Tainted Minds would be Damage, Nibble, Setsi, Swift as well. Would have been Swifty. I think it'll probably be Buzzo in there now. So I don't think they'll make it. I don't. I think they had a poor performance in Vegas, and I mean, I just don't see it happening. I think there's at least 12 better teams than them in here. Brack's team, which is Brack, Jet Li, Parzilion, Envoy, and Llama Good. Maybe got an outside shot, but realistically, I don't see them breaking that top 12 spot. I think it'll be very, very difficult. The Imperial. Now, this is a team I think could potentially make it. Denza, Hawkey, Moose, Reedy, and Vortex. Obviously, a lot of them from that Epsilon squad of last year. Obviously, they didn't have the best time of things, but this team feel a little bit begrudged of where they are. I think they lost to G2 when there was something happened, basically, where they got knocked out in bad circumstances. I think it was like the host crashed when they were up in the hard point to go up in the series, and they just tilted. They had so many opportunities, though. This is what I'm saying. Like, when they played against UIU and they choked badly, and I think that just really set them off. If they'd won that game, I think they go on to place pretty decent, like top 12, top 16. I think they may have placed like top 24. So I think realistically, they've got a really good shot. They've got experience. They've got talent. They could potentially do it. They're not in the definites, but they could potentially do it. FC Black, Asim, Gravity, Mosh, Phantoms, and Tish. Now, this was a team that was bigged up by Dirk and bigged up by a lot of you guys, and they just flopped a little bit for me when it came to Vegas. I think they got smoked by Heretics to qualify for pools. They really, really did smoke them. They just couldn't keep up with the pace. If they play like that again, they will not qualify. Not a chance. So if they can pick it up, you definitely see potential in there, but I just don't know if they'll be able to make it. Accelerate Gaming, I've got them down as a maybe again. I think, we've seen them come out of pools. They went into a difficult pool, though, and couldn't really get things going from there. But BZ Believe, Fastball, and Mr. Ruiz, or M. Ruiz, sorry, Mr. CDML, and Profizi, they could do damage to some teams and will be cause for concern for some teams, but realistically, I don't see them making it. I think it'll be difficult, but actually, no, I'd say that I'll put them in the same bracket as the Imperial. I think that both these teams have potential to do so, but it's going to be very, very difficult. Now, we're starting to get to the point of where I bolded teams, and the teams I've got bold are teams I think will make it. Now, a lot of people, or some people watching this will be from teams that I'm not too sure on. I'm sorry, okay? But I think Heretics are going to make it. I think Heretics finish top 12. We see them online, and we were curious as to whether this team could convert their online performances into LAN. And they can. They're just so fast, and they're very, very difficult for teams to deal with. If teams can figure them out, then I think they'll struggle. But they're so fast, they use their specialists fantastically from what I've seen. And I think, if anything, if I'm one of the commentators that have seen more of Heretics than anybody else, and I feel as if they're good enough. I really do. They made FC Black, a promising North America amateur team coming up, look pretty silly. So I think they've got a very, very good chance. Let's see if they can do it. I'm looking forward to see how Heretics do. Teddy's team, I don't think they'll make it. Teddy, Rex, Zap, Super, Rambi, and Apox. They're really just banking on people dropping hard points and controls them and then making sure they close out the search and destroys, which didn't necessarily look top draw. I think they've got a decent chance, but I think they'll be very, very difficult. They need to work on their running guns, their objective game modes, of course, their respawns are what they need to work on. If they can work on that, they've got a chance, but I think it'll be a struggle. Now, Mindfreak have made a change, and I've got them down as I think they'll make it just because they have this thing where they just perform when they need to. Swifty, Excite, Fighter, Luca, and Shucks. Luca really impressed me. He was one of the highest KDs in there. Can't remember exactly what it was, but a good event from him. I think the other boys struggled a little bit, but if they can step up to the level that we know they can be, then Mindfreak will be a problem for a lot of teams and might just scrape through, I feel. UYU is Mayhem, Nova, Proto, Skies, and Spoof. They scraped through the qualifier, but then had a pretty decent time in pools. I think they beat Red Reserve and caused some problems to the other teams in that group. I think they might beat EG as well, actually. Top of my head, can't necessarily remember, but they did cause problems to a lot of good teams. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. I think they might qualify, but it's going to be difficult. As I said, guys, I know I'm saying a lot of mights, a lot of maybes, because there is. And I'm going to go through who I do think is going to make it at the end. Stay tuned for that one, or skip to the end. FaZe Clan. Now, FaZe Clan seem to be making a change. Methods looks like he's out for Celium. So that's a big move to make at this point. Like, I know you guys didn't have a good event, but I was quite surprised that Methods got the boot, because it's such a big event that if you don't finish top 12 in this event, you are not in Pro League the rest of the year. Yes, okay, you look at this roster and got to say that the majority of them might probably squeeze into some rosters. But realistically, they're in a dangerous spot right now. They make a big change, take a risk on Celium, somebody who is just come of age to be able to play, as far as I'm aware. I think he's just 18 years old. So, I mean, it's a risk to take, but if it pays off, they should be fine. But if it doesn't, FaZe Clan could be in danger. I think they'll make it. I do think they'll make it, but it's going to be risky. It's a risky move to pull off at this time in the year, where you need to make a good run in this next tournament. And if you don't, you're done for the year. You're going to be playing the AM leagues. G2 Esports, I don't know, man. They've had to make a change, and they scraped through some of the losers bracket runs. I think they potentially could do it. I think Chino on there is a fantastic player, as is Decimate. For Sento, I think he's been dropped for... It's either Laceville or Methods. Actually, that's one thing I'm just going to touch on. Pittsburgh Knights and G2 Esports, it's hard to make a comparison, because I know there's some roster mania going on between a couple of the American teams who are on the cusp of making Pro League. It'll be interesting to see how these two do, but obviously, bearing in mind, roster changes could happen. Now, G2 and Pittsburgh Knights being God RX, Panda, Parasite, Lacefield, and Theory. These guys could potentially qualify, as could G2 Esports. I'm just not 100% sure. I put them on my 12th spot, because I'm curious as to see what the rosters end up being, so bear that in mind. 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves will make it. Let's be honest. You look at the talent on that roster, there is no way they shouldn't. However, they have to be very careful, because there are some good teams here who can cause some problems, and there's teams that will not be scared of this roster. You look at it on paper and you think to yourself, yes, okay, it's a fantastic team, but there's people like Heretics, there's people like UYU who are going to sprint at these guys and say, right, screw it, we've got to just throw everything we can at these lot, and they could be in danger. I think they will squeeze through. You look at their roster and there's no way they shouldn't, but there's that little bit of doubt where you've seen the team not really perform at any sort of level that you would expect. That makes you wonder about this team. Team Envy, same sort of thing. You look at it, Hook, X, Apathy, Assault, and Silly. You think they should qualify, absolutely, but they have to be careful. If they come in there and play underwhelmingly, they might still scrape through, but they have to be very careful. That's the thing. I think there's a lot of teams, as I jump away from the list a bit, there's a lot of teams in this Pro League qualifier that have got to be very careful of some of these other amateur teams coming up. It's do or die. You don't get another shot the rest of the year. You don't get to go through Open and qualify for pools for the rest of the year. You are in the amateur leagues. You will be playing in the amateur circuit for the rest of the year, unless you can get picked up by a team who's already in the Pro League, which of course some of these guys could do, but they have to be careful. There's everything on the line here. Red Reserve, I think, will be fine. I think that was first event jitters from them. I think they will still be a top 6 team throughout the year. I had them second in my prediction for Vegas, which caught me off guard, to be honest, but I think it caught a lot of people off guard. I think them and FaZe combined were probably the two biggest disappointments from the weekend. So I think on paper there is absolutely no way that this team shouldn't win, but I do know that they're not playing at the moment, so that could be difficult. However, I think they will be fine. I do believe Bance has went home for Christmas, which is fair enough. You know, you got to go home, you got to spend time with your family over this time of year. But they're a very good team. They will know what they have to do to fix their problems, and will fix their problems. Team Reciprocity, same vein. I think, you know, they're full of talent, and I think they're absolutely a top 12 team in this tournament, and I think they can make it 100%. Wuskin, Tommy, Zed, Shawnee, and Dens, I think, will be fine. We see them playing online good recently. I know some of the Optic fans will probably dislike the video for me even saying that, but realistically, irrelevant of what we're talking about online, they've looked pretty good. You can't just completely put it down to connection. Either way you see it, they handed Optics' first loss to them online, albeit online. So this team know what they're doing. They really, really do. Evil Geniuses, Gunjar, Royalty, Fellow Saints, and Exotic had a fantastic start. And they really did slip up, unfortunately for them. I know Revan was annoyed with how they played on Saturday and Sunday after Friday. It was so good from them. They played fantastically, reverse sweeping Red Reserve in there as well. A very, very good team who can cause some problems to some people, but they have to be careful. I do think they'll be fine, though. Team Spacely, straight ripping. I mean, I think they were just straight ripping for that. Obviously, they're looking for an organization. But either way, Havoc, Major Maniac, Mox, Nagavan, and Spacely. I think Major Maniac might be one of the best players I've seen on this game. He's absolutely insane. I think these guys will be fine. Their Surgeon Destroy is great. I think they beat, who was it? They beat Red Reserve to advance through to top 8. I think they'll be fine. I think they will make it, absolutely. And moving on to Lightning Pandas. 100%. We were talking to Madcat the other day on Spitfire. They're feeling pretty good. They feel as if online they don't play great, but when it comes to LAN, they just feel a lot more settled. They've got plenty of experience as well as young talent in there. Alex coming in, causing problems for a lot of teams. Dave there, he looks more like the Dave of old that we've seen. Mad Cat looks more like that as well. Josh is putting up the numbers where he needs to, played well at the event. PT looks more like the PT of a few years ago. This looks like a team that can cause problems to a lot of people. If they didn't lose to Team Sween in a reverse sweep, I'm going to talk on Team Sween in a second, then these guys would have went further. I think they could potentially finish top 4, but realistically, fantastic result from them in Vegas. Congrats to them. I think they'll be fine. Team Sween, I do believe they'll be okay. Brain, Dylan, Nelson, Quicker, and Wayman looked amazing in Vegas. And I think they play very similar to Heretics. I think they're a very fast team, get in your face sort of thing, and I think they will be fine. I'm just curious that this video is going on quite a while. So I'm going to say my top 12 teams are Team Sweet, Lightning Pandas, Team Spacely, Evil Geniuses, Team Reciprocity, Red Reserve, Team Envy, 100 Thieves. So we've got 4 more. FaZe Clan, Mind Freak, Heretics. Now, number 12, I'm struggling. I think it could be between... And saying that, Heretics, I'll put on the outside as well. And I'll put Mind Freak on the outside. But I definitely think all the others are going to qualify. But then I think Pittsburgh Knights, G2, Accelerate, Imperial, Fact Revolution, Enigma 6 all have a great chance. I think the top 10 is all but guaranteed. But there are so many other good teams. I'm going to throw it on the line. I think Mind Freak, Heretics, and Pittsburgh Knights will qualify. So they're my top 12. We'll go through it one more time. Team Sween, Lightning Pandas, Team Spacely, Evil Geniuses, Team Reciprocity, Red Reserve, Team Envy, 100 Thieves, FaZe Clan, Mind Freak, Heretics, Pittsburgh Knights. They are my top 12 teams in the qualifier, and I think they'll qualify for Pro League. Thank you very much for watching the video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please leave it a like. It's been a long one, 18 minutes. Now, I think this is going to be my last video before Christmas. So, guys, thank you so much for all your support throughout the year. I'm probably going to do some more videos after Christmas as well, which I will say exactly the same thing, but the views have been fantastic. The response in the comments are mostly good for the most part. But again, guys, offer your opinion on what you think. Let us know below in the comments who you think will qualify. Is there any teams I missed out on that you think could cause some problems? Are there any teams that you see as a sleeper? I mean, there's people like Fact Revolution, good players on that team. Imperial, good players on that team. G2 Esports, good players on that. There's so many good teams at this event. It's going to be crazy to see who does qualify. But guys, we will see you potentially at the Pro League qualifier and for the next video after Christmas. Have a good one, boys, and we will see you then.